Welcome back to the channel Speedy Health Tips. We are back with another interesting video to keep you healthy mentally and physically. Today we will discuss the top 10 signs which indicate that your mental health is getting worse. The reasons for mental illness can vary from person to person, but it's essential to know about early signs that are alarming and worth noticing. By monitoring the early warning indications of mental illness, you can look for treatment prior and forestall the repeat of side effects later on. There's no actual test or scan that dependably demonstrates whether an individual has fostered mental health. However, individuals should pay special attention to the accompanying as possible indications of a mental health disorder. So, lock in. We will respond to your queries as a whole. Before we head to the video, don't forget to give us a huge thumbs up and hit that bell icon to get notified of all the future uploads. When it comes to mental health and the signs that are alarming, one should always remember two key points to evaluate the severity and seriousness of their symptoms. First of all, if any of the signs that we are going to mention later in the video persist for a long time, you should definitely consult a psychologist or psychiatrist. It is not humanly possible to be mentally well all the time. There will be times when you will face these alarming signs. But if it's just for a couple of days, then it's just a normal human reaction to a situation. But if it continues to persist for like a month or so, then this is not normal. The second most important thing to remember while evaluating the severity and seriousness of your symptoms is to see if it is affecting your daily life functioning. If any of the signs that start affecting important areas of your life, such as academics, career, relationships, then this is alarming. If any of the signs does not affect your daily functioning and important areas of your life for a long period of time, then this is the best time to consult a psychologist or psychiatrist. Let's see the top 10 signs that indicate that your mental health is worsening, but all of these signs should follow the key indicators that are mentioned earlier. Number 1. Losing interest in the little things. There might come a time in one's life where the person isn't interested in any of the activities which once brought colors and joy to his life. He just doesn't feel the need to do anything, as now they lack motivation and self-confidence. When you start to lose interest in life's significant details, and when your general point of view starts to change into negative thoughts, at this stage of your mental health may start to get worse. You might be under outrageous pressure or overpowered with your responsibilities as a whole, but this might lead to mental illness, which can extract all the colors and beauty that life brings to us. This will make you see the little things exasperating and annoying, as now your emotions will no longer be manageable. It's high time to recall that expert assistance is accessible and that you're not alone if you think this is the situation. You are the change maker of your life. Look for some creative and engaging activities that bring out the real you. Number 2. Constantly feel drained. Normally, we feel dizzy after an intense workout or after a tiring day at work. But if one feels constantly exhausted or depleted, despite getting sufficient rest and eating admirably, then this indicates the worsening of mental health. People tend to ignore this symptom, assuming that it's a normal human behavior, or some give excuses by naming it a hormonal imbalance that lacks motivation. But the real picture is totally contrary to it. This behavior is experienced by those who are overruled by their own thoughts and surround themselves with a negative energy, which pulls down their mental stability in seconds. According to Healthline, mental exhaustion is a reaction to long-term stress and can feel insurmountable. In order to bring back one into life, Healthline recommends some implied and effectual home cures, which include appreciation, relaxation, and yoga. If one will bring these ways into practice, then impressive results can be seen. Another way is to consult a professional of mental health for medications or therapy where you will be warmly welcomed. Number 3. Sleep issues. If one experiences irregular sleep patterns, then it could be a symptom of mental illness. It could imply that you're succumbing to increased stress. People usually face hypersomnia or insomnia, which is either they sleep too much or sleep too less. Excessive sleep can lead to depression and anxiety. The main idea behind having excessive sleep is to avoid reality and maintain a distance from the errands of the world. But one needs to understand that running away from the problems won't eradicate them from your life. Even after excessive sleep of 15 to 16 hours, you have to wake up. You have to face people, problems, and most importantly, yourself. To get back to life, you must set up a proper routine which forces you to sleep and wake up at the same time daily. And if it gets difficult, consult a mental health professional. Similarly, if you aren't sleeping enough, it can lead to several health conditions. If there is something that is not letting you sleep, talk to your psychologist about it. Number 4. Losing self-control. If you find yourself acting impulsively more than usual in many situations and you're feeling like losing control of yourself, then it might be a symptom of worsening mental health. Mental toughness will be affected if one lacks self-control. People who lose self-control lose the ability to make decisions for themselves. They rely on others for the things that they are accountable for. Even realizing the lack of self-control is itself very depressing, and in many cases, one acknowledges the lack of self-control somewhere but fail to help themselves. We deny these issues by distracting and being harsh on ourselves and getting involved in some unhealthy habits. But journaling, care, and treatment are the ways to uncover the portion of these issues. But if it still persists for a long time, then this is an alarming sign and you should consult a psychologist. Number 5. Feeling dispersed. When you're reading, does it seem like you're simply gazing indiscriminately at words on a page? Or having a tough time focusing on something? If this is affecting your life in different ways for a long period of time, the condition is related to worsening of mental health. People often feel scattered and cannot focus on anything happening around them, or they feel confused and disordered. This happens mainly because they are surrounded by their thoughts, which do not allow them to be in the present moment. You might consider them as absent-minded people. It may be disappointing to begin losing concentrate so habitually, and these sentiments are valid. But you shouldn't worry about it. Just take care of yourself and find ways to cope with this problem. Eliminate distractions from your surroundings. Take breaks and repeat the process. And don't forget to consult a specialist to guide and help you further. Number 6. Thinking of causing self-harm. Self-harm is when somebody causes harm to themselves to help cope with different difficulties or upsetting thoughts and sentiments. It's commonly not implied as a suicide attempt. Rather, this sort of self-injury is an unsafe method for adapting to emotional pain, serious anger, and disappointment. Self-harm includes cutting, burning, or hitting yourself, starvation, placing yourself in risky circumstances, or non-lethal overdoses. Similarly, there are a lot of other signs of worsening mental health. For example, yelling or fighting with loved ones, smoking or using drugs, hearing voices or accepting false things, eating and sleeping too much or too little, and many more. If you notice any of these things in your life, then consult a psychologist. Number 7. Sudden mood shifts. It is totally fine to have days when you are sad or days when you are happy until and unless it affects your life at extreme. Everyone has different moods, but a person with mental instability will stand out from others as a sudden and dramatic mood change can be observed. For instance, if he is crying one moment and starts to laugh extraordinarily the other, being angry one moment and start feeling guilty the other, these intense shifts in mood make them go crazy. Or if you are way so happy for a couple of days, so much so that it affects your daily life, and then you feel extremely sad for a couple of days, then this behavior is an indicator of any serious health issues, including bipolar disorders, cyclothymic disorder, major depressive disorder, MDD, and the list goes on. If you face the same issue, then consult a professional nearest to you urgently. Number 8. Appetite changing. We all adore the transformation journey of people from being dull and unattractive into charismatic and charming. It requires years to achieve this. But when a person is suffering mentally, then they will experience a sudden weight loss, or if they keep overeating and stress and anxiety, then they will observe a shocking weight gain. Everything starting from pressure or resent to a diagnosable mental illness can result in a loss of desire to eat. Lack of appetite is generally caused by many internal and external factors. All mental and physical illness impacts negatively on hunger levels. We are owned by our own thoughts, and meanwhile, our body absorbs this negative energy and loses its ability to function properly. The only way to get away with this is by maintaining your psychological well-being and by paying more attention to yourself. Have your meal or maintain a healthy diet. But if it still persists, then see a psychologist, as it can lead towards disorders like eating disorders. Number 9. Addictions. A normally stable person continues his life on the regular pattern and routine with some me time. They meet deadlines, balance work, life, and career, go through tough phases, and still spend life at its best. Whereas a person struggling with a mental problem lives life completely opposite to it. They don't have balance in their life and are not ready to accept challenges and confront themselves. To avoid the errands of life, they tend to become addictive to things like mobile phones, alcohol, drugs, sleeping, and others. These addictions can also cause serious illness, which can stay prolonged. The extreme use of anything will lead to addiction, which is not all good for mental health. Number 10. Isolating yourself. Mental illness is also at risk when one starts isolating themselves. They spend a large portion of their day alone and intentionally avoid social interaction. This mainly happens when one starts fearing about things and thinking about bad past experiences, which makes them feel guilty and ashamed. They feel better when nobody's around them, when nobody questions them, but at the same time, it has a negative impact on both physical and mental health. Avoiding people increases the feeling of loneliness, which automatically goes towards anxiety, depression, and in some extreme cases, suicide. Staying indoors for most of the time favors aggressive behavior, poor self-care, and self-neglect. And physical effects of isolation include feeling ill, headaches, having pain, feeling tired, and sleep-related problems. If you're willing to kill your fatigue, then bring back the heat by connecting with your loved ones through meeting them in person or starting little by little. Talk to them on mail, mobile phone calls, messages, and through live video. Interact with them and avoid the risks of mental illness. That's all for today's video. I hope the tips are beneficial for you. We will soon be back with another new video related to health fitness. Don't forget to like the video and hit the bell icon to get all our new uploads.